to our second Mountain Hood Territory Facebook Live. I am Jared, the social media guy for Oregon's Mountain Hood Territory, and I am joined by Chris, the owner of Christopher Bridge Winery, and I feel really lucky to be out here, not just because their wines are awesome, but they are, but I had the pleasure of spending some time with Chris and his lovely wife, Suzanne, who's off camera doing all the work to keep things running here in the tasting room. And I had the wonderful pleasure of joining them a few weeks ago on a fan tour with some travel writers and listening to Chris speak about his wine, about the vineyard, about the land is truly an inspirational experience. You all are going to enjoy that shortly. But also because it is a beautiful Oregon day here. It's rainy, it's nice and chilly. Spring is taking a break for winter, I think. So we're going to sit here by the roaring fire and talk Oregon Wine Month, which is, of course, all month long in May. And what better time to celebrate that than the coming Memorial Day weekend when our wineries in Mountain Hood Territory will be opening up for tastings. Chris, thanks for coming on with us today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And since we're talking wine, I think we might try a little bit.
You know, we can't go to a winery and not taste, and I see we've got some good stuff here. What do you have for us today?
We got a little old 9 Pinot Noir, one of my favorites. It's a nice day to settle in because it's a little cool and got a little fire going, so the wine should fit just well.
Perfect. Now, I mean, Oregon is known for Pinot Noir. You can't own a winery in Oregon without a Pinot Noir, at least in your arsenal. Which, you know, tell us a little bit about this 2009 and how it varies from some of your others.
2009 has been a gorgeous wine. Always has been, and it has continued to hold together very well. I like this wine because it's beautiful fruit forwardness, balanced nicely. It finishes wonderfully. It's a romantic wine. It has all the components that I really enjoy in good Pinot. Soft, velvety, again, has the inspiration of romance in it. So,
well, you know what? It is a fantastic wine. Cheers to that. This is amazing. And like I said, I had the luxury of sampling a few of your wines before, and I don't think you've got a bad one in the lot. But, you know, talk about some of the different varieties that you produce here.
Thanks so much, Jared. You know, wine is not Coca-Cola, at least it shouldn't be. It's always got to be a little different. It's part of us, and it's almost like family. And if you think about family, you think about kids, and kids have all got their own individual personalities. Well, wine, when it comes on every year, gets reborn. Gets reborn from vines which have gotten older and tasted the soil deeper. It's gotten grapes now which ripen under conditions which, you know, are always unique in Oregon. Sometimes we have a very early bloom, and maybe the fruit gets ripened earlier in the late summer. Sometimes, of course, we get rain, and the wine represents that. It shows what happens during that year of becoming, growing. The vineyard is, like I say, a living thing, and how we handle it is in a happy family, and maybe they'll be a little nicer. Anyway, talking about the 10, very approachable, animated wine, lighter. It kind of reflects a little bit of a little bit more austere, drier, not drier, but wetter season. I love it because of its approachability. I always call it, if you don't like red wine, try this one, and we'll see if we can't change your mind.
We've already got a question, so Facebook land, what's your question? Molly's going to shout it out for us here.
What is your favorite grape? How do growers prevent disease that could kill grapevines like what happened in Europe?
Wow, that's a big question, and it's an important one. A favorite grape is hard for me to answer. Pinot, of course, is...
It's like choosing a favorite child, I think.
It is. It is very much like that. Sometimes it just has to fit the mood. And then a favorite grape can be a white wine. It can be a comfort wine. In other words, a white wine made with a little bit of off dryness to it, so the fruit blooms and blossoms and just hits the spot when I come in from the hard days of work and it's hot and sunny out there, and I pull out a chill bottle and it just goes down so well. I love the Kerner, I love the Sauv Blanc, even the Muscat, and maybe one of my more off-dry versions, Pinot Gris. Oh, but then let's sit down before the fire on a cool day or a winter day, and a lovely glass of Pinot just is a must. I even like a cook with Pinot. Stews and things like that. But they're all finding a home with me, and to tell you the truth, I'm always finding some new varietal that I think I just have to grow and make into a nice wine. Wine is like that. It encourages you to explore. It's always challenging you with a new aspect. It's like going to the movies, going to theater, reading a new novel. You're interested in them because they're new and they're different and unique. Now, how about growing them so they don't die? Well, I'm thinking that maybe that particular question reflects on the phylloxera invasion of Europe. Came from here. The wild vinifera, which were Lambrusca, basically had a little plant louse in the root system, which affected grapevines tragically, killing them off. There's the main way that has been addressed is by taking original wild grape rootstock from the States and grafting it, or developing it and then grafting varietals which were destroyed by the root louse onto these particular rootstocks then, which were more or less impervious to the phylloxera louse, so the plants could survive without being damaged. There have been some new chemistries developed that will help postpone or delay or maybe eventually even totally kill the phylloxera louse. So one could go back to self-rooted vinifera vines. That's into the future a little bit more. It's still risky business if you want to pursue those kinds of chemistries. And being a little bit on the natural side, I want to avoid those systemic kinds of things that could eventually, get into the grape. Otherwise, hey, the other big problems we have, we're at that point right now. It's some mildew time, mildew season, warm and wet. That brings out this kind of a mold, and it affects the vines. It can hamper them in many ways, but it is disastrous to the fruit. So we have to spray pretty regularly. Right now in the valley, we're a little bit concerned about some of the plants, and I mean some of these mildew species are developing a resistance to some of our sprays. It's a very important issue because if these tools are taken away from us, well, that can mean bigger problems. We've tried to get away from an overuse of sulfur and copper, which were the old standbys of Europe that we originally used, because they affect the wine in the soil a little bit negatively. Kind of an organic movement has, been greatly taken up by the grape growers across the world, and they're trying to get away from the more aggressive natural elements. And that's why some of these synthetic chemistries are very gentle, and they're just specifically targeting mildew, for instance.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about that, because you come at this as not just a winemaker, but a steward of the land, somebody who you almost speak with like love and affection of your vines and everything. So you really have this holistic approach when looking at every step of the process. I mean, when we got here today, saw you out on the tractor, you were working on the trail. So talk about your approach, your natural approach to caring for each vine in the grounds themselves.
It's huge. You see, when I produce wine, that's fine, but I'm bringing it to people. I'm sharing it with people, and what we have here going on is my bridge, my connection to this place. And it is a very important issue to me, because I feel people need to have an experience, a heartfelt experience on my part. It's something I care about. I feel that it is a poetic adventure, and I put myself into it, and that's what makes it alive. That's what makes it not Coca-Cola, not just another bottle on a shelf. It is an experience which I wish to endow all of my customers with. When they come here, I need to offer something special, something personal, a connection to them that allows them to become connected to this place. What better way to do it than growing a beautiful vineyard and harvesting beautiful fruit and making wonderful wine in the spirit of peace, in the spirit of joy, in the spirit of feeling the appreciation for the natural world. I feel people get stimulated by that kind of thing. I love talking to them, telling them about the adventures of the place. how deeply I'm connected to it, and how much I wish to share that personal affiliation with them. It's a deep thing that people begin to take with them and enjoy and take ownership in, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you know, in every step of the way, you really do, you know, when you come here, you feel like you're being invited into someone's home. You know, I've been to, you know, tasting rooms all over the world, well, not world, I guess, country, we'll say that, where, you know, it feels like a big commercial venture. But when you come here to Christopher Bridge, it's like you're inviting them into your home. I mean, the tasting room, if Molly can kind of show a little bit, you know, just, you know, show the kitchen, everything, the pizza, the brick pizza oven, you feel like you're coming into your home. And when you talk to them, it's not as a winemaker, but it's as family, as friends. And it's something that, like I said, permeates every step of the process, to the grounds, to the tasting experience, to the wines themselves. I mean, I've always said, passion is evident in no matter what the endeavor, be it sports, be it writing, and winemaking is the same way. You can taste the passion that you put into every single bottle, and it's something unique in today's world. So I mean, it's not, you know, a mass-produced thing. I mean, one thing you spoke to is you try to keep the lot somewhat small, so you don't grow beyond those bounds. So I mean, how do you find that right balance of big enough to make your fans happy, but not so big that you guys lose your identity?
Very good. It is a balance. You've got to keep thinking about it. You've got to be active in the vineyard, of course, but active with the people that come in the door. You know, I feel that you've said things that make me think that I've done something right. I want to exhibit passion. I want to have somebody come in here and feel good. I want to have them sit down and be amazed about all the things, the exciting things which can happen on this place, and how I'm devoted to them, bringing those things which I so deeply enjoy and am attached to them to share. Life has to do with sharing, and this wine has to do with sharing, because it represents not just me, it represents a beautiful aspect of the planet, this wonderful Mother Nature, this community of different environmental animals and plants and things. It's something which I so often have felt the peace and the joy of, and I think the world needs it.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, all of your wines are sourced from your own estate here, so you really know exactly what's going into every bottle, correct?
That is totally true. We grow everything, and we work on growing it. I have crew people that help me, and of course, but I love to go out there and work with it in every step of the way. You know, when you were talking about what do we do special with vines to produce a decent wine, sometimes it's just being there, just walking the vines, looking at them and saying, I like these things. They're special, they're important to me. I go sometimes down through the fields and talk to my wife about that. I said, there was an aura out there tonight, and I just felt it. I felt sort of like it was giving me something very special. It was the air, the light. It was just ethereal. You know, if you care about something, it's reflected in that thing. So many people go about the production of a good, maybe it's even a farming commodity, and it's just made and sold. Too many farmers are just tractor drivers. Get out there and love it. Feel the soil in your hands and your foot on the ground, and smell the air, and accept all those tender nuances. And I think even that affects your plants and your product. Then of course is that sharing, which is important.
We've got another question out there. Molly, what do we have?
What is your favorite food and wine pairing?
Oh my gosh.
Favorite food and wine pairing. Now that's another tough question. They're lobbing some hard ones at you today, no softballs.
Well, I could say a lot of different foods. I could say a lot of different wines, but what comes down to me, what I love to cook, is I love to have a beef bourguignon, a lovely homegrown good piece of beef and vegetables, and a good bottle of wine in there, Pinot, a little shot of some of my homemade brandy, and I put it in a nice Dutch oven, and I shove it in the pizza oven. In a couple hours, everything gets reduced down. The aromatics are gorgeous. The meat is so tender. The veggies cook perfectly. And I bring that out, let it cool down, and have a good bottle of nice Pinot. It can't be beat.
Well, I hope everybody out there is getting close to their lunch breaks, because if you weren't starving before, you are now after that one. I know I am. One thing I have to mention though on the food is I had the pleasure of tasting some of the amazing pizzas made by your wife Suzanne, and I know she doesn't want to go on camera. Hopefully you can speak to those, because there is something truly wonderful about these handcrafted pizzas with combinations I never in a million years would have dreamed of. I believe there was one with like a gorgonzola and pear that just paired so well with the wine. It was just a perfect experience. So talk a little bit about
absolutely dream to my beautiful wife's creative ability with pizzas.
Yeah, you know what? That deserves one. Yes, definitely.
She is wonderful, and the pizzas are wonderful because they.
I'll into that too.
Oh yes, we lured her on camera. Flattery will
There
get
she
you
is.
everywhere.
She is a pizza dough maker extraordinaire. The only thing I'd like to see her do, and I'm sure she can handle it sooner or later, is do that toss, where you just fling them around so they stretch. The dough gets bigger and bigger. But other than that, pizza doughs are always wonderful. The toppings, I tell you, she can be so creative and loves it in the summertime when our fresh garden produce come on, and she can experiment with different herbs and different vegetables on there, but they always turn out really well. The wood fire somehow makes it an experience to it. It infuses the whole pizza with a special sort of a flavor and ambiance. I don't know, they're always good, and they're so much fun. People love to see them being baked off. We love putting them together, and Susie loves it, and she does a wonderful job. Sometimes I get to bake them too, and that's good. We've even got customers that love to come in and try to make their own, and that's lots of fun. We always let them do that too. But no, pizzas are just a great thing, and I'm so glad we put a little love in the tasting room.
It goes back to that whole thing of creating this whole authentic experience. The pizzas, handmade, the wine, handcrafted with thought given along every step. That's not just something that everybody does. So how did you get to this point in your life where you became so conscientious about every step along the way and the brand you've created here? How did that come about?
I was born on a farm. I was raised on a farm. We lived on this farm. We have lived on this farm, except for a few little stints on over to Europe, for 63 years. And somehow in that process I became deeply attached to it. I was a little bit of an introvert and kind of liked being by myself, and I played with my siblings a lot, my neighborhood kids. We were always building forts, we were always playing around and digging, and then I became interested in making wood, firewood, or baling hay, and all these things as I grew up. I don't know, I just had it in my blood. So as the thing with grapes came along, it was endemic in me. But then to think about it, it's not just farming, it's something personal. And you know what, when I was learning about viticulture, there were different, agricultural methodologies, conventional farming and organic farming, and then this weird thing of biodynamic farming came up. And everybody, even the instructor, was kind of saying, well, it's sort of a voodoo-ish thing, it's just kind of a fad, and but I listened to that, and something stuck in my mind, and I tried to figure out why, and then I began to realize it is when the farmer takes a direct, personal, hands-on interest in his farm, and especially is attentive to the energies that are in and around it, and are making it function, and that his own attitude towards that land is important. And even things, and I don't really think of all of the preparations, and we're stirring cow manure, and we're doing these things that you put in horns and bury in the earth and stuff like that, and a little bit of it sounds awfully voodoo-ish, but nonetheless, it's a process which is very hands-on, and again, it gets you to reflect upon your farm. What grows on your farm, the cattle that we have had on our farm. I've had people always want the cow manure for their particular preparations. And somehow by combining all of this, you find yourself working on it. It's like cooking your own food in a way. You're growing things out of your garden, you're bringing it in, washing it up and making things. And sometimes, like my wife is so creative with the pizzas, all this stuff makes it special. So how does it all come to be? The heritage of growing up on it, being aware and sensitive to the land, finding out what it gives you back, being poetic in heart and mind. You have to love what you're doing. You have to put something in there that's not just everyday work, 9 to 5, get some money back, whatever, and then go play somewhere else. I play on the farm. I play when I'm working. It has its ups and downs. It has its tear moments and so forth, but it has so much joy. And that is what makes this kind of a life something really, really special.
You mentioned before some time in Europe. Did that have any influence on some of your winemaking styles, going back to where it all began?
Oh, well, you know, in a very, very oblique way, it certainly did. One of my very favorite things to do while I was teaching school in the German school system down in southern Germany was to go out into the countryside, you know, for hikes and, you know, just things, skiing in the winter and hiking in the summer. There were so many wonderful things to do. But I love to find old castle ruins to go explore. I love to go up on top of some hill and hike up there and find an old tower and scrabble up to the top of it and just think and imagine what it was like. It sort of inspired sort of a romantic tendency to me. And I was in a men's singing group over there, and I knew a guy in the bass group who were singing them together, and he was a contractor, building contractor, and I told him about my desire to somehow recreate a castle, and he says, yeah, you can do that. And we talked about foundations and stones and all this kind of business. Anyway, that was some inspiration that never left me, and it was so European and yet so romantic and so much me that when I came back, what could I do but start building my own castle? It's a long process, but it's coming to be, and that sort of ties into, again, being attached to the rocks and the land and the things. And it also is a way that I can weave in the wine thing, because what could be better than having a wine event at the base of an old castle? A tower. It's romance. It's what it should be. It's, you know, I'm going to have roses going up to the balconies, and I, you know, I just think that's part of the whole picture. We don't just do wine like growing a vineyard, bringing in the grapes, big, huge, giant building to make the wine. No, it's got to be a little bit of these other things. Small, yes, but unique. Unique is a key word here. A word that you connect with all sorts of experiences, and you love to share them. And when you share them right, people enjoy it.
Well, let's talk about how somebody can have that experience for themselves. So, what does somebody need to do to set up a wine tasting for any time, or again, maybe, you know, this Memorial Day weekend, as people have a few extra time off?
Well, let's start with Memorial Day weekend. We're actually starting on Friday and going through Monday. We'll have the pizzas coming out, and hopefully we've got some of my lovely young lady assistants will be walking around serving them up, and that'll be fun. We've got some live music set and ready to go. I'll be pouring the wines and talking my head off about them, and my wife will be telling me not to pour so much. We're getting everybody drunk, so we'll work on that, but it'll be a wonderfully fun time. We'll have our balcony, our deck out here, fully functional. I'll be putting up my tent here today or tomorrow, and that'll be great. So we'll have plenty of room and fun people. Everybody chats, and we serve a lot of wine. We'll be pouring 11 different varietals, 10 different wines, and that's just come and enjoy it. You don't have to stay all day. Some people do.
Kind of hard not to.
I guarantee
good
you,
wine, the pizzas, the amazing view.
I guarantee you'll have fun, and you'll try a lot of different wines. When people come through the line, I'm always saying, you know, don't worry. If you didn't get a big enough pour, you can always come back, and I'll give you a second shot at whatever you like. It's not like every little drop's got to get paid for. You pay up the door, then you're good to go, and we're not here to make you drunk. We're here to make sure you really get a good trial on our wines and hopefully enjoy them and take some with you. Now, otherwise, if you're interested in a special little outing, maybe you have a group of, 8, 10 people that you'd like to do and celebrate, give us a call. We'll always try to make a special table for you and make, something, arrangements that everything is kind of unique. We encourage people to bring their own little picnics along any day, and they can buy a bottle of wine, sit out on our deck, or go out into the vineyard, sit at one of the picnic tables, and of course enjoy the view and their wine and their own little picnic. I'm always encouraging people to join our club, which is simple. All you got to do is buy enough wine, which is about $350 worth over a year's period to become a club member for a year, and then I'm always working on special adventures for them, be it things down in the vineyard at the castle site or in the woods where we have our picnic tables, or in here every first Friday, of course, we do our free pizza and wine evening. And like to have speakers, a little entertainment. I'm devoted to my club members. They are wonderful people. They enjoy each other. They enjoy coming here, and they're our lifeblood of this business. But yeah, just give us a call. Sometimes we'll even spring open during the week if we're just generally here every day anyway. But
how can somebody find you? How can somebody find you? Where are you guys located?
Well, let's see. We've got our web page. The sign on the 213 is, of course, the big blue winery there sign. And, well, let's see, my wife would probably from afar here be able to contribute to that. We also would be able, just 503-263-6267. Call us and we'll say, Christopher Bridge, how can we help you?
And the website, ChristopherBridgeWinery.com.
www.christopherbridgewines.com.
ChristopherBridgeWines.com.
ChristopherBridgeWines.com.
You can find the directions there as well. Learn more about the wines. Chris, thank you so much for having us out here today. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, everybody is excited as I am about the wine tasting weekend on Memorial Day weekend. And couldn't ask for a better place to celebrate Oregon Wine Month.
We thank you so much. I appreciate your enthusiasm, and cheers to you.
Cheers to you as well.
And Molly.
And to all of our viewers.
And
Thanks
all
for
of our
joining us.
customers, present and future.
See you next time on Mountain Territory Live.
Love to see you.
Better place to celebrate Oregon Wine Month.
We thank you so much. I appreciate your enthusiasm, and cheers to you.
Cheers to you as well.
And Molly.
And to all of our viewers.
And
Thanks
all
for
of our
joining us.
customers, present and future.
See you next time on Mountain Territory Live.
Love to see you.